I have a colossal measure of, and I need to see her succeed. And I need to see her find love again. I take responsibility for my job. Yet what I really wanted at the time, since I was running 100 miles an hour. And I was such a large amount major areas of strength for a design for her. Hello everybody, it's your number one. Tattle young lady back for certain succulent nudes in the past Kevin tracker. Was moving in real money straightforwardly, yet crap hit the fan when his child mom purportedly unloaded him. Sharina tracker can't manage Kevin's tricks any longer. And she's leaving him pretty broke, so Kevin is realizing every one of the examples the most difficult way possible anyway. He's not the one to let anything somewhat questionable go by, so he's tending to every one of the bits of gossip about going belly up. And if he truly has any desire to reunite with Sharina, so we should get into it and figure out what the tea is about. It's not every person to discuss what's the deal with her circumstance. I'm not as entangled. What I will say is that they were a common measure of individuals that exploited my non-attendance, and her weakness at the time that she permitted this entirely different debate has been twirling around the web, and it's causing a ton of bits of hearsay. Sharina and Kevin were a catastrophe waiting to happen all along. And nobody figured they would keep going this long, yet word around the block is that they at last severed things. And Sharina has left Kevin absent a lot of cash. It seems like karma is influencing everything here, albeit the stunning part is that in the wake of making things labor for 16 long years, they're separating now subsequent to having messes with it. Seems like Wendy is at last pursuing her genuinely necessary retribution. Assuming you review, Kevin met Sharina back in 2007. And around then, he was still a lot of hitched to Wendy. Kevin even had a kid with her. And surprisingly, this didn't prevent him from supposedly betraying Wendy. He was allegedly spotted with Sharina on numerous occasions in any event, when he was as yet hitched to Wendy. And this made individuals extremely nauseated, yet the most terrible part was he was spending Wendy's cash. This while to go on sumptuous excursions and gift excessive bangs to his sweetheart Kevin. Even spent Wendy's cash to fund Sharina's pricey review to be a back rub specialist, albeit this vocation before long went down the feed, and she was unable to go on. Before very long, Sharina was continually changing fields and picking all kinds of profession ways for herself, since she didn't need to stress over cash. Maybe she had a friendly benefactor who was burning through the entirety of his significant other's cash on her. He even started her a business in South Carolina. Yet it didn't end well either. Yet Kevin continued to put cash in various organizations just to keep Sharina blissful. In the event that you're asking why Wendy didn't go belly up after this, simply realize that she was stacked and her significant other had a profound knowledge of it. Kevin continued to put resources into Sharina's organizations. And when she needed to be a real estate agent, he even paid to get a wide range of certificates. Yet she was unable to decipher the code in land. Either by then, Kevin ought to have really tried to understand that Sharina isn't removed to be a business person. Yet he kept on financial planning on her business thoughts. He proceeded to put resources into a vegetarian organization that she concocted, and around a similar time, he additionally got her a house that was around $1 million. This was all while he allegedly was as yet hitched to Wendy. And think about what the house wasn't a long way from where Wendy and Kevin resided, so they were essentially in a similar area, in spite of the fact that Kevin was additionally bringing in some cash. Being a maker, he actually couldn't uphold his rich way of life. And that is the reason he generally spent Wendy's cash on Sharina and her undertakings. The most awful piece of this present circumstance is that, as per a few reports, Wendy realized that Kevin has a side chick from the start. Wendy went through this cheating and control, and she just requested one thing from Kevin, and it was that he can't have a child with Sharina. It was her main condition for allowing Kevin to burn through the entirety of her cash on his sweetheart. Yet Kevin couldn't have cared less about it, and he thought Wendy was feigning so when things began quitting any funny business among him. and Sharina, they chose to have a child. And when the child young lady was conceived, Wendy realized that she needed to relinquish him. She promptly petitioned for legal separation and was crushed subsequent to tolerating so a lot. Yet it was settle-up time for Kevin, as when he chose to leave his scandalous show and the board positions, Wendy asked him not to she had other evil plans, and Kevin at long last met his match when Wendy later got have presumably helped his vocation, yet getting terminated basically destroyed his profession. And this wasn't even half as awful as how he treated Wendy. This hit Kevin where it harms. And when the separation was finished, Kevin proposed to Sharina. And she said okay, he truly got her a ring worth $80,000. And she was parading everything over her socials. And think about what Kevin supposedly didn't pay for this ring from his own cash. Possibly he was truly getting provision from Wendy, which was sufficient to, in any case, back his lavish way of life. Yet Kevin felt that he will reside off of divorce settlement installments everlastingly, and that won't occur soon. Wendy became truly ill, and she began being missing from the show. It was adversely affecting the evaluations, so they dropped the show. And Wendy lost her most steady pay source. Thus she needed more cash to, in any case, pay for provision. And Kevin and Sharina were left with nothing. Kevin had no regret for his activities. And he didn't actually tend to think about the thing Wendy was going through when his installment quit coming. He gave a meeting and said that Wendy isn't paying him enough cash. And she didn't give him any advance notice prior to halting the installment. And hold on until you hear where Wendy was during this interview. Well, she was in recovery. She wasn't in that frame of mind to continue to pay them and seek costly clinical medicines. Yet all Kevin purportedly thought often about was the cash she was getting from her. He likewise said in the meeting that he feels awful for Wendy's condition. However, at that point, he continued requesting additional cash from her. No one, and I mean no one, will truly bring the energy, the magnetism, the enthusiasm, the mastery, the ability, and whatever else you need to call it. Kevin additionally blamed Wendy's guardianship for utilizing her and taking her cash. Yet that is the very thing that Kevin has been doing from the start. And in the event that Wendy didn't petition for legal separation, she would have been bankrupt. A few reports surfaced after this interview that uncovered how Kevin is really destitute and doesn't have sufficient cash to pay for his vehicle insurance or his home loan. He then uncovered that he hasn't covered bills since he's not getting any installments from Wendy. On the off chance that this wasn't embarrassing sufficient, he even said that he's apparently purchasing standard stuff like food from his MasterCard. Kevin kept on requesting that Wendy ought to pay her, yet it was before long uncovered that she doesn't actually have to. The arrangement they marked was simply restricted to the time while Kevin was as yet a piece of the show. And in the event that his policy wasn't reestablished, Wendy will not need to pay him any divorce settlement. She snuck in Miss Claus in the understanding without Kevin knowing, and he marked it believing that he planned to reside off of Wendy's cash for his entire life. And the tomfoolery part is that Kevin even recorded a claim against Wendy and attempted to sue her for not paying him out of cash. But rather there truly was no case, as the arrangement was endorsed by Kevin himself. And there was nothing he could do. He even employed pretty costly attorneys, feeling that they'll assist him with getting the cash back. Yet, therefore he was left with no cash to try and pay the attorneys. When Kevin went belly up, reports fired coursing that Sharina was parting ways with him. Kevin left an ideal family in a truly agreeable life for Sharina. And presently she's going to leave him since he can't stay aware of her extravagant way of life. Individuals who say that Sharina generally dealt with Kevin like a friendly benefactor were right on cash, in light of the fact that once he had no cash, Sharina purportedly began limiting any association with him. Reports are additionally overhauling around Sharina leaving Kevin and moving back in with her mom. This must damage Kevin a ton, and individuals are bringing up that it's truly karma that is making Kevin pay. He actually hasn't been hitched to Sharina, and they're presumably going to cancel the wedding pretty soon other than Kevin has a child with Sharina. And she'll most likely take lawful assistance to make him pay for kid support individuals on the web. Definitely realize that this planned to occur, and just Kevin was adequately dumbfounded to leave somebody like Wendy and go for Sharina, yet all that sparkles isn't gold. And when the cash quit streaming, Sharina purportedly left Kevin. So what do you figure Kevin Tracker will truly do next? Impart your considerations to us in the remarks. Likewise, remember to like this video, buy into our channel, and hit the chime symbol to keep steady over all the superstar tattle with. See you in the following video. Till then, at that point, be careful and gratitude for observing.